We will call the regularly scheduled meeting to order, and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Kim Kroll,
Here.
Jim Zarnik,
Present.
John Schaefer,
Present.
Patty Sims-Samarchik,
Here.
Wayne Pondinas,
Present.
Joe Wizawati.
Present.
Okay. Everyone should have received a copy of the minutes from the November 21st meeting. Barring any discussion relative to this, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Madam President, if I may,
Yes,
the minutes from October 17th are presented tonight just for signature. They were already approved.
okay. Thank you. All righty. Before you, you have the sewer and landscape credits from the Draftkey residents and the Martinez residents, with those credits totaling $214.18. Any discussion relative to this?
I'll make a motion to approve the sewer and landscape credits totaling $214.18.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Reports and correspondences. Robinson Engineering, project updates.
Madam President, thank you.
So I just want to give you an update of what's happening with the Acorn lift station abandonment. The sanitary sewer had to be in the ground for so many days before you do a mandrel test and an air test on it. We exceeded that. We're going to be doing the testing in the first week of January, and then the first or second week of January, we're going to be abandoning the pumps. We're removing the pumps, removing the controls, delivering the controls to Public Works because it's a brand-new SCADA panel. And then we should be able to button that up, I would say, by the third week of January. There is some landscaping that's going to be touched up in the springtime, and we have a one-year guarantee in the landscaping. And the project came in under budget. We're proud of that. And I think it was a pretty good job, and I think everybody on the board should be proud of it, too. So,
That's good news.
yeah, that's good news.
For a change.
It's good to have good news occasionally.
It is. It's the end of the year. It's good to have good news.
Exactly.
All righty. Anything else?
Madam President, we were talking about the wastewater treatment plant capacity, and it came to the conclusion that just be better if next year the new board takes this and runs with it. I think any negotiations being done in the past, we did get some information. We got it back to the board, too, about the conversation with Crown Point, the conversation with Sherrville, but that's about as far as it went. And then plus with the holiday schedules, it was just hard to get everything to work. And we got a new sheriff in town on January 1st, so we wanted to make sure that they have their eyes on it, they could get their input on it, and so that's where we stand with that one.
Okay.
So that's the one thing I have.
That's best.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
all righty. Town Council Liaison.
I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you for all your time spent on the board. Had a good time. Everything went smoothly.
All righty. Thank you, Wayne. And Town Manager.
Thank you, Madam President. So, as Tom Nagel was saying, with respect to the water district and sanitary districts, so we are deferring a lot of stuff to the next council to kind of weigh in on some of those decisions. But one of the decisions we're not going to let them weigh in on, because it's kind of an agreed upon decision between the city of Crown Point and the town of St. John, which will be presented Thursday night to the town council. And basically, we are in agreement with the sanitary district boundaries with the city of Crown Point. We went to the city of Crown Point and said, no, these are the areas that we feel that at some point we're going to annex. They agreed to it, and we're just kind of mutually agreed to those boundaries as defining the areas for Crown Point's expansion, which doesn't, impede on the development of St. John. So my recommendation is that the town council, move forward with those boundaries. and we approved that agreement, so the city of Crown Point can move forward with the utility board and get their regulatory authority established. What they're looking for is to gather those users that are in unincorporated areas. So they've been working with Lake County on some unincorporated areas that are west of Crown Point, and we have no territorial desires to impede or impose on those areas. But we did object to some of the territories on 231 and Klein Avenue, and they agreed to say, okay, we won't include those, and they did. So we agreed to say, okay, fine, this is the map, here's the map, so that is presented to the town council for consideration next week. So and the reason why we want to do that is because so Crown Point can go to the regulatory commissions and say that they've agreed, Cedar Lake's agreed, Cherville's agreed, we're all in agreement on this. So they worked collaboratively with the town of St. John, and I think they did the right thing, and I think moving forward on that project is the right thing. So it establishes those boundaries, and they won't impede on our development in the future.
All right, well, that's good for future discussion then, especially for our growth. 'cause
Yes,
our growth
exactly.
is all going to be that way anyway.
Exactly, and then the southeast corner of Klein Avenue, they agreed to kind of push back their boundaries on that. So I was like,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I said, well, this is kind of where we're looking to develop, and they said, no problem, and they backed off on that. There was no, pushback or fighting on that. So that was very nice.
Speaking of Klein Avenue, do we have any indication when that roundabout is supposed to be coming in? Has there been any
Yeah, we've
discussion?
met out there on site with NDOT and every other utility out there. And I think that we're looking at 26, 27 before they start construction phase on
Because
that.
I know we're going to have some financial encumbrances with that.
Yes, we're looking at putting a sleeve underneath 231 for water and sewer. So,
Right.
and Tom, if you want to talk further on that.
Sure, we just got a preliminary set of plans. They wanted a review done by the middle of January. And I think the intent is to go out to bid in 2024 and construct it in 2025. But what I could do for you, Madam President, is send the entire board an email of what I received. And so that you can see what it is and what the conversation, it is going forward, I can tell you that. There's also another one planned at the intersection of Parish and 231, which is gonna happen after that. So, NDOT's working great with the town, and and it's all on their cost. You could add things you want at your own cost, like monuments or signage or finding way signs or fountains or flagpoles or lighting. But everything's in the preliminary, everything's in the planning stages for Klein. On Parish, it's in the preliminary planning stages on there. So, but both of those locations, we know we need water main crossings. Sewer crossings, a whole different story, because they gotta be designed at a grade and a slope. So we gotta make sure that's in the right spot. And it may be something where we do not get a crossing now, because we don't have that grade or slope, because we don't know the development or where the sewer's going to at that time. But we get the contractor put that in, or developer put that in later.
And this is the state, obviously, doing all this, right?
Yes, ma'am, it
And
is.
judging from the last relationship we had with them on 41 and dealing with that project, hope this goes much smoother.
Well, I think it has been considerably smoother since we've had those initial discussions. They've been asking us what we want
Well,
in terms of, how do we want this to develop in terms of the center of these things. So we've had those initial stages. I don't think we had those initial discussions with NDOT on the 41 project.
little PTSD left over from
Oh,
that, so-
absolutely, yeah. So with that, there's a couple of other things I want to just kind of bring up.
I just have a question. Tom, you said that it's all going to be on NDOT's dime, correct?
Well, for the roadway improvements, any
So
sewer and
you-
water improvements would be on your cost too.
Is there any utility relocations that are going to affect the town of St. John? Because that was the big
Right.
issue with 41.
So we were hypersensitive to that too, because we know what happened on 41. We heard the stories about it. And on Klein Avenue, there are no utilities crossing there now. You don't have anything developed in that area. Over at Parish Avenue, you got a force main and you got a water main crossing there too. And from the looks of it, we're in discussions with the Public Works and talking about, do we want to relocate this ductile iron pipes? They're relatively young, they could be within the center of the roundabout, but there could be a conservative approach to it, where you say, I don't ever want to have to go in that roundabout and dig it up 15, 20, 40 years from now, who knows when. But ductile iron pipe should last a long time. If there's a grade conflict with the storm sewer, it has to be moved. They do not have their storm sewers done yet on that project. We've been asking for that detail on it too. So if their storm sewer runs into our utilities, we have to move our utilities. So the bottom line is, John, on Klein Avenue, we have nothing over there right now. On Parish Avenue, we're preliminary looking at it. We're trying to get details on their storm sewer. Then we'll see what has to be moved.
And do you know, would NDOT include that utility relocate if needed as part of their bid? Or would they look to the town of St. John to go out separately?
And I mean, I can speak to this. So with respect to any relocates, there are no relocates at that intersection. There will be relocates on Parish
That's what I mean.
and 231.
On
So
Parish.
it could go both directions. I mean, one thing you could do is that you could prepay NDOT to do it, or you could do it yourself to avoid, to be out of their way when they start. And there's always like a thought in my mind is that you have a big, large paving company carrying some small utility work. There's a higher price per lineal foot as opposed to doing it on your own and having an underground contractor go in there and relocate the force mains and the water mains. So
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was going to be a storm sewer contractor or not doing that.
I'm sure there will be a storm sewer contract and a roadway job. You're right about that, John.
And if it's just a relocate for a conflict, or if it's just an offset. Because if it's just an offset, it'd be much better for the contractor to do it at that point in time, right when he's doing the sewer main.
I would agree,
Or
but
the storm sewer, excuse me.
But the full scope hasn't been identified yet. Everything
Okay.
you're saying is right, spot on target. And we just got to see what kind of magnitude we have here. I don't imagine it being, even if we had to relocate the water main and the force main, it's still not going to be a very, very large project. It's going to be maybe 150 feet on both sides of the road. And of course, we'll stay within the right of way too. So, but we'll have to see where it comes in when we get the storm sewer design from them, and we'll see where the conflicts are. We actually went out there and field located everything. I gave them a AutoCAD map of where everything's located at. And I think they did a underground utility excavation to get the elevations on it too. So,
You don't know what size by chance, I'm just curious. If there is a relocate, what size main that would be for the sanitary and water? I didn't know.
the force main's relatively small, because it's just servicing the gas station, and I think the subdivision is called, Wayne's called Parish Woods. Yeah, so that's a relatively small force main, I'm gonna say the 4 to 6 inch range. The water main is between the 8 or 12, I can't remember.
I believe it's 12, yeah.
That ain't bad, okay.
Yeah. But, sir, just so we're on the same page, we'll know more when we get the storm sewer plans, and we get to see where we're at in conflicts on it. I don't know if the storm sewer is gonna be large, or they're gonna be 12 inch or 18, or they're gonna be 42 inch. I could not tell you, until we get their plans on it. But we are on top of it, and we're following it, and we've communicated this multiple times about as soon as you get your storm sewer laid out and your design done, we got elevation and grades, we're gonna tell you what we're gonna do with our stuff. I mean, hopefully it misses everything, and if you wanna leave it there, I'd say you can leave it there. If you wanna be conservative and just get it outside the footprint of the roundabout, we can move it outside. I don't think it's gonna cost that much to move it outside. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you for the update on that.
So finally, with respect to my report, Baker Tilly has provided the final numbers through November 30th of 2027. I don't know if you guys have received those. I will be sending those out to you tomorrow, though, just so you have those for your budget to actuals. And then the final thing that they were tasked with was providing a final numbers for the LBL 36-inch interceptor. We had asked them at the last meeting to provide those numbers. We have not gotten those numbers yet. They are working with the clerk treasurer's office to provide the most accurate numbers that they can provide with respect to those numbers and the amount of reimbursement that we provide under the agreement and amendments for that.
I
So,
think one is coming up in January. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be ending in January, if my memory serves me
I
correctly.
believe it was in 2020, at the end of 2024. I could be
At
wrong.
the end. Oh, I was hoping.
So that's why I was
January.
asking them to provide numbers, so.
Jason's shaking his head. The end?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why I asked to see where we were in numbers.
Okay.
Are we close? Did we pay them more than what we should have?
2024 is still good.
We've paid them a lot of
We'll
money.
take it.
Yeah.
take it.
So, but if we paid them what they're due, we shouldn't pay them any more. So that's kind of where Baker Tilly's looking at those
Yeah,
numbers,
well,
so.
Yeah, we need to have numbers so we can
Absolutely,
move forward
yeah.
on the projects we have coming up.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. And as you know, Eric, and well, you weren't here last month. Eric, he kind of went through the, where those numbers are going to fall off, where that allows us to pick up some additional numbers to do other projects and service and stuff like that. So
Okay.
those numbers will be coming up here to the board as soon as they do.
Okay.
That's all I have.
And speaking of numbers, anything new on the Deodore Street letter?
Oh, yes. So the attorney sent the letter. Thank you for reminding me. So the attorney
Well,
did.
I'm not going to forget this.
No. The attorney sent the letter out. I literally just was asking about that today. He did send me a copy of that. I'll forward that out to the board just so you're aware of what's going on with
No
that.
response from the recipient?
No, not at all.
Was it hand?
Not yet. Not yet.
Hand-delivered, certified mail?
Right. I have not gotten it, but I did ask him at the last meeting to make sure they added for the plumber to come in, that kind of the language on there. So they did include that on there, so.
I just want to make sure that he received the.
Right, and I will find that out for sure, but I'll send that out to I literally got that today,
Okay.
because I was like, what's going on with this? I'm like, I hadn't heard.
Yeah, that needs to get wrapped up,
Yep,
so. thank you.
100%. Thank you.
Any other unfinished business? Alrighty, going on to the payment of bills. We have two payment vouchers outstanding. One for the sanitary district in the amount of $36,842, $36,842.66.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Alrighty, and for the wastewater utility district, we have vouchers outstanding in the amount of $940,297.72. Barring any discussion, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any public comment?
If I may, Madam President, just, I wanted to make sure that the board did get a copy of Mr. Davis and Mr. Valois's report in their packets
Okay.
as part of the record.
Having no public comment, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.